Gentlemen, let's get one thing clear from the start. A man who knows his worth never begs for attention, affection, or validation. Kings do not plead, they lead. They do not chase approval, they command respect. Yet far too many men forget this truth and slip into behaviors that scream desperation instead of dominance. The hard truth is this: the moment you start begging, you stop leading. And when you stop leading, she stops feeling attraction. Today I want to wake you up, because this world doesn't reward the man who bends over backward trying to be liked. It respects the man who stands tall, with dignity, and lets the right people come to him. Let's break this down into 5 core principles every man needs to understand if he wants to stop begging and start becoming the king he was born to be. When a man begins to act from a place of neediness, everything about his energy shifts. It's not just what he says or does, but how he shows up in the world. Neediness is not just unattractive, it communicates weakness, a lack of self-belief, and emotional instability. Women are biologically attuned to pick up on these subtle cues. When you act as if you need her to feel whole, to feel validated, or to feel like a man, you place her in a position of power she never asked for, and one that ultimately repels her. Attraction is not built through pressure or pleading. It's built through mystery, strength, and self-assurance. The moment you try too hard to please, to be accepted, or to win her over, you flip the dynamic. You're no longer the man she admired. You become someone she pities or avoids. That silent energy of desperation speaks louder than any words. Even if your intentions are good, even if your heart is in the right place, neediness says you're not grounded in your value. Confidence, on the other hand, speaks in stillness. A man who knows what he brings to the table doesn't need to explain or convince. He allows space. He gives her the freedom to choose him, and because he's secure in himself, that freedom often pulls her in deeper. The paradox is this: the less you try to control her, the more in control you appear, and the less you need her, the more she wants to be part of your life. Let go of the impulse to chase and focus instead on becoming a man who doesn't just attract attention, but earns lasting respect. A man who places himself at the center of his own life naturally becomes magnetic. Too often, men make the mistake of orbiting around a woman, adjusting their schedule, priorities, and even values to win her favor. But when a man does this, he loses something essential: his sense of self. Women don't fall for men who worship them like idols. They fall for men who worship their purpose, who are on a mission so compelling that others want to follow. When a man is focused on building his kingdom, his career, his health, his growth, his relationships with people who matter, he commands respect without needing to demand it. The truth is, women are not drawn to a man who abandons everything for them. They're drawn to a man who won't abandon himself for anyone. It signals strength, direction, and a deeper understanding of what it means to lead a life of meaning. This kind of man doesn't have to try to impress. His lifestyle does it. For him. He's not chasing love because he's already fulfilled. His time is valuable, his energy is selective, and his standards are high. That's what makes him rare. That's what makes him desirable. When you build your life like a king builds his empire, the right woman doesn't want to be your everything. She wants to be a part of something bigger, and she knows she has to bring value to gain access to your world. This shift in mindset is powerful. It removes the urge to beg, to chase, or to settle for breadcrumbs. When your focus is on self-respect and self-mastery, everything changes. She no longer becomes the mission, you do. And ironically, that's when the attention, respect, and attraction from women begin to pour in without effort. Neediness is one of the fastest ways to kill attraction. It sends a clear message that you don't feel complete on your own and are looking for someone else to validate your worth. This isn't just unattractive, it's emotionally burdensome. When a woman senses that you're desperate for her attention or approval, it creates an imbalance. She begins to feel like she's being pursued not from a place of genuine interest, but from a place of lack and insecurity. and no one wants to feel responsible for completing someone else's identity. Confidence, on the other hand, is silent. It doesn't scream or beg or plead. It simply exists, rooted in self-awareness and a strong sense of value. When you let go of neediness and replace it with grounded confidence, everything shifts. You no longer react to mixed signals or ghosting with panic. You don't chase, over-explain, or try to prove your worth. You already know your value, and whether someone sees it or not becomes irrelevant to your sense of self. By becoming emotionally self-sufficient, you become free. Free from needing her to text back, free from needing her to choose you, free from bending over backwards to please her. That emotional freedom is incredibly powerful. It allows you to lead in your interactions with women, to maintain your boundaries, and to walk away when respect is not being returned. And that very ability to walk away with peace and dignity is often what makes her reconsider everything. Paradoxically, the less you need her, the more she begins to feel your value. This isn't a game. It's a principle of human behavior. People are drawn to those who don't need them to feel whole. So, stop proving yourself. Stop chasing. Focus on becoming a man so fulfilled, he never needs to beg for love. Setting clear boundaries is one of the most powerful ways a man can show self-respect and command respect from others, especially in dating. When you have boundaries, you define what behavior you will accept and what you won't tolerate. This sends a strong message that you value yourself and your time, and you won't be manipulated or disrespected. Women are naturally drawn to men who stand firm in their values and don't let others walk all over them. It's a sign of strength and maturity. Boundaries protect your emotional well-being. Without them, it's easy to get pulled into toxic cycles, chasing someone who isn't reciprocating, excusing bad behavior, or sacrificing your own needs to keep the peace. When you set limits, you're basically saying, I respect myself enough to not accept less than I deserve. This kind of attitude raises your value instantly because it shows you're not desperate, nor will you settle for crumbs. Moreover, boundaries create clarity in your relationships. They help avoid confusion and misunderstandings about where you stand. When you clearly communicate what is okay and what isn't, it eliminates guessing games and builds mutual respect. If she pulls away or disrespects those boundaries, it reveals her true intentions or level of interest, something you need to know early on. Another benefit is that boundaries help you maintain your independence and emotional stability. You don't become overly reliant on her approval or attention to feel good about yourself. This emotional balance makes you more attractive because you're not needy or desperate, but confident and self-assured. Ultimately, setting and enforcing boundaries is about protecting your king-like status. It's about honoring your worth and refusing to be treated like an option or afterthought. When you do this consistently, you show that you're a man who demands respect, and that's magnetic. Walking away is one of the most misunderstood yet powerful moves a man can make in dating and relationships. It's not about giving up or running away from problems, but about recognizing your own worth and refusing to stay where you aren't valued. When you walk away from a situation where you're not respected or appreciated, you reclaim your power. You show that you won't settle for less than you deserve, and that you are confident enough to leave, rather than beg for attention or love. This action instantly shifts the dynamic, because it introduces uncertainty and scarcity. When you're always available and chasing, you become predictable and easy to take for granted. But the moment you walk away, you become less accessible, and that creates intrigue and respect. It forces her to see you differently, no longer as someone who's desperate or needy, but as a man who has options and standards. Walking away also demonstrates emotional strength. It means you're not controlled by fear of loss or rejection. Instead, you prioritize your own dignity and self-respect above temporary comfort. This kind of mindset is incredibly attractive because it signals maturity, confidence, and independence. Women want to be with men who lead with their emotions, not follow them blindly. Furthermore, walking away can provide you with much-needed clarity. It allows space for both parties to evaluate what they truly want without pressure or manipulation. Sometimes absence really does make the heart grow fonder. But even if she doesn't come back, walking away frees you from wasting time and energy on someone who isn't fully invested. In the end, walking away isn't a defeat. It's a powerful statement. It says, "I am worthy of respect, love, and loyalty, and I won't beg for what should come freely." And men who live by this truth naturally attract the kind of women who value them deeply.